Hello everyone, welcome to a new video about quick facts in controlled environment agriculture. My name is Carla Garcia, Hort Americas Technical Service, and today we're going to speak about a very important problem that we have sometimes inside of the greenhouse. We're going to speak about blossom end rot. Blossom end rot can be a common problem inside of greenhouses. We can see this problem in some crops like for example tomato, peppers, and more. But what is blossom end rot? Blossom end rot is a problem that we can spot on fruit. Usually at the bottom of the fruit we see necrosis. This can also be confounded as a fungi because it's really ugly. However, this is just cells that died because they didn't have enough calcium while the fruit was growing. So basically, blossom end rot is calcium deficiency. We have spoke about calcium deficiency for some other crops, like for example lettuce, but the symptoms and solutions are a little bit different. The base of the knowledge is the same, but for blossom end rot, sometimes we need to pay more attention. So that's why I'm making this video. So we already learned in some other videos that calcium is very important for cell wall formation. We need calcium to build the cell wall. However, we have first the cell, then the cell wall. So if we don't have enough calcium for the cell wall, then the cell that is already there is going to die. That's why we see necrosis. That's why we see that kind of symptom on the fruit. And calcium is a passive nutrient. We already learned about this. Calcium is a passive nutrient, meaning that this nutrient is going to move within the water. Passive nutrient uptake can be affected by different environmental variables. Here we have some of them, not all of them, but at least the most common ones that we know can cause problems inside of greenhouses. We have ventilation. We already spoke about ventilation when speaking about tip burn, which is also calcium deficiency. It's more common in lettuce. So ventilation can cause problems with transpiration, and if we have problems with transpiration, we have problems with the movement of calcium. Then we have humidity and temperature. These two variables we know are very related also with transpiration. In the case of blossom end rot, if we have too much transpiration or if we have very low transpiration, both can affect the movement of calcium within the plant and can then up causing blossom end rot. Then we have irrigation. Irrigation is also important. If we are not irrigating our plants, of course, the plant is going to stress, the stomata will close because the plant is not receiving water. Then stomata will close and calcium is not going to move. In addition, if we have too much salts on the root zone, that is equal to drought. So if we have a lot of salts on the substrate, we also have the response of the plant by closing the stomata, trying to save water. So these are some of the options when we're speaking about environmental variables that can be linked to calcium deficiency. The interesting and difficult part about solving blossom end rot is that when we see this problem on our plants, we can have different symptoms. There are some situations where we can see calcium deficiency on the fruit, which is blossom end rot, and we can also see calcium deficiency on the leaves. So there is a situation where you are going to notice both symptoms on the plant. However, there could be other situations where you will see the problem only on the fruit. So why this happen? Why we see the problem like different symptoms in different situations? So here is the most difficult part about solving the problem of blossom end rot. We need to pay a lot of attention to our plants. Why? Because when the plant is moving a lot of water, because the plant is transpiring too much, because the environment is making the plant to transpire too much, we will have the movement of calcium, of course, because the calcium move within the water. However, if the movement is really fast, the movement of water is going to avoid the movement of calcium to the fruit and is going to go directly to the leaves. So that's why in some situations we see only the problem on the fruit. And this is the most common problem usually inside of greenhouses. So in this situation, the plant is transpiring too much. What is causing the plant to transpire too much? Sometimes when we have high humidity, when we don't have enough ventilation, the use of the exhaust fans, or even pruning, so we can have better air movement within the plant. There is also other situations where the problem can be spotted on the leaf and also on the fruit. When we have the problem in both organs on the plant, then we have a problem with the movement of calcium. Calcium is not moving within the plant. Here, we can link the problem to low relative humidity levels, or, for example, the problem of a lot of salts on the substrate, or when we are not irrigating too much, or any problems with injectors. Literally how the fertilizer is going to the plants. So let's try to make a summary so we can understand this better. We can see the problem of blossom error, which is calcium deficiency on the fruit, and we can also see calcium deficiency on the leaves. When we see the symptom in both parts of the plant, then we have a problem with low transpiration, and we need to fix that. If we have low transpiration, probably we have very low humidity inside of the greenhouse, and we need to apply, like for example, foggers or misting system inside. Then we have the other option when we have a lot of transpiration. When we have a lot of transpiration, then we can fix this problem with ventilation or exhaust fans. We need to reduce relative humidity inside of the greenhouse. And this is very common because the plant is really tall, is transpiring 90% of the water that we deliver to the plant, and we have a lot of shade because the plant is very tall. So it's kind of common to have the problem of blossom end rot, which is calcium deficiency only on the fruit. And if you notice the plant, you can see that the leaves are okay. So this is the most common problem, but that doesn't mean that you cannot have the problem also on the leaves. So there are different aspects that can affect the movement of calcium within the plant. However, based on our experience working in greenhouses and also providing consulting, here are some possible solutions. Improve relative humidity levels. We know that very high humidity or very low humidity can cause blossom end rot. So check which are the ideal levels of relative humidity for your crop, and check if you need to increase relative humidity or reduce relative humidity. We learned that the most common situation causing the problem is high humidity. If you have high humidity, you can use ventilation, you can increase the use of exhaust fans, or also pruning can help so you can have better movement of air within the plant canopy. And if you have very low relative humidity, then you can use the fog system or, for example, the wet wall. Second one, check irrigation levels and salts in the substrate. If we are not irrigating properly, if the plant is not receiving enough water, you will cause stress and the plant is going to close the stomata. So you need to check that the levels of irrigation are correct. And other situation that could be more common is usually we grow tomato, for example, in coconut coir, and coconut coir can retain salts. And salts on the substrate can also cause stress and cause calcium deficiency. So you can also check that. Then we have some mechanical errors that can also happen. For example, the injectors. Usually, to have the delivery of nutrients to our plants, we have injectors which are connected to tanks, and one of the tanks usually has calcium. So you check if the injectors are working properly and they are like sucking the water from the tanks properly. The other advice will be to use BPD. BPD, which is vapor pressure deficit, is ideal. I mean, if you have the way to record temperature and relative humidity, you can also check BPD. We have a video explaining everything about BPD. BPD is measured in kilopascals, and here are the recommendations for tomato. This is a calculation that can be done using temperature and also relative humidity. And both are really important for transpiration. So you can also play around working with BPD to improve the management of your greenhouse. Now, I hope you have received enough information to fix the problem inside of your greenhouse, or to prevent, of course, this problem. Remember, my name is Carla Garcia, Hort Americas Technical Service. Please subscribe if you would like to keep learning about controlled environment agriculture. See you in the next video. Bye bye.